Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Wednesday video devotional. I hope you're having a good week, that you've been able to enjoy the nice weather, maybe go out and see the cherry blossoms and do all of the wonderful things that are DC in the early spring. And I hope that you've been able to feel God with you this week, that she has blown a gentle, warm breeze into your life and you have been able to enjoy it. Welcome once again to our time together. I really hope this finds you in the time and place that you need it, and that it can give you this extra little boost to get to Sunday, when we all get to gather together again and worship God in so many wonderful and beautiful ways. Yeah, and remember that if you ever want to do this, if you ever want to write a prayer and have me read it during the prayer moment, or you have something you want to talk about during the faith moment, please let me know. The invitation is always open. Would you please pray with me? Holy and gracious God, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for this year and everything that it has been and everything that it will be. We give you thanks for all of the ways you wrap your love around us and hold us tight. We give you thanks for art through words and paint and pencils and all of those beautiful things. We give you thanks for all of the ways you've given us to express your beauty in the world and its effect on our lives. Amen. The theme verse for this week is Psalm 19. The heavens are telling the glory of God, and the firmament proclaims his handiwork. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night declares knowledge. There's no speech, nor are there words. Their voice is not heard, yet their voice goes out throughout all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In the heavens he has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom from his wedding canopy. And like a strong man, it runs its course with joy. Its rising is from the end of the heavens, and its circuit to the end of them, and nothing is hid from its heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The decrees of the Lord are sure, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is clear, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The ordinances of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, even much fine gold. Sweeter also than honey and drippings of the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is your servant warned in keeping them. There is great reward. But who can detect their errors? Clear from me hidden faults. Keep back your servant also from the insolent. Do not let them have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless and innocent of great transgressions. Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. The theme for this week, or the thing I want to talk about during our faith moment, is poetry. It's National Poetry Month, or so I've heard, and the relationship between poetry and religion and our expressions of God runs deep. So much of the Hebrew Bible, in the prophets, in the histories, in Genesis and Exodus and Leviticus, all of these books have so much poetry. The book of Psalms is basically just a bunch of poems talking about how great and wonderful God is. It's like our normal speech just isn't quite enough. It's like we didn't think just talking the way we normally talk, or the way people have normally talked, did it justice for how much we love God. We had to package our words, our worship, and our praise and our love in some special way, so that we could convey this overwhelming emotion to God, so that we could worship her more beautifully, so that we could let her know that we love her and that we want to do everything we can to keep her covenant, and we know how great she is. Poetry is beautiful, and I have so many fond memories of reading poetry, whether it's in class. In college, I took a class called Poems About Cities, or at my pastor's ordination, I read a poem, and this is the pastor who's going to officiate wedding part 2 in a couple months. And so, I don't know, poetry and religion have always just gone hand in hand for me. During my time at CPE, which was really hard for me, I spent a moment in my car before going into the office every morning and wrote just a couple lines of poetry about how I was feeling and how I was doing and what I was looking forward to and maybe what I needed from God that day. And one of my favorite religious poems is The Creation by James Weldon Johnson, a Harlem Renaissance era African-American poet. I'll give a link to someone performing this poem below, but it is a reinterpretation of the creation story in Genesis. It's how James Weldon Johnson envisioned God creating all of the world, and the line that I just love from it is that God stepped out into space and said, "I'm gonna make me a world." And there's something so beautiful about that God, and it like goes into the relationships, and it's beautiful, and I just love it. And so my invitation for you this week is to read some religious poetry, either in the Bible or other places. People have been continuing to write poems to God throughout every era. And maybe write your own poem. It could be brief, a limerick. It could be a haiku, 575. It could be prose. The beautiful thing about poetry is it's kind of what we make of it. Sometimes it goes all the way to the end of the line, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it has a specific meter and rhyme, and other times it doesn't. But I invite you to write some poetry to God this week and give her thanks for all of the ways that she has poured love into your life, and let her know that you love her. So receive this blessing. May God surround you with words of beauty, and may you, in return, give them back to God in beautiful poetry. Amen.